1001 Ways to Cope with Stress. I am Professor Kenshasa Shabaka, and we have today a guest who has been through so many things in his life and is offering to us today the culmination of some of these experiences. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Larry J. Walker. Welcome, Mr. Walker.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
And I would like to just share with our audience how it was that I met you. I call it divine providence. I am a consultant for early learning programs, and I was going to Urban Strategies, which is one of several early learn programs. And as I was going into the entranceway, I saw this man painting a fantastic mural on the exterior walls of the Urban Strategy building. And of course, I approached him and said, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And clearly it was one of the most beautiful depictions of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and all matter of things that children love, the rhymes. And one of the things that I found so exciting was that I saw a little girl coming down the street with her mother. And as she came down the street, she sort of skipped over to the letters and started singing the ABCs and going to each letter as she passed. And I was so fascinated with the way in which it just engulfed her. And she became a part of the canvas almost. And the mural, I should say. And so I asked you at that point, had you, had a willingness to perhaps have your work shared globally? And so he consented, and that is why we're here today. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Walker, and how it all began with the art.
Okay. Yes, I would like to thank Professor Shabaka for her time and the heartfelt appreciation for what you do. She told me about her, and I'm very touched because I believe we're all on the same page. We want to give back, and as her
symbolic statue
shows, we're doing God's work, I believe. And my early beginning, I was born in Georgia. This picture basically shows a clubhouse in Georgia, in the woods, and that's what we used to do. We didn't go to the store to get new bikes or anything like that. We had to make do. And just like the Little Rascals did, we grew up the same way. And this is a picture of that. And
you literally built this cabin yourselves.
Oh, we built nicer ones than that, but that's just my imagination for the painting. Yes, and you see the fishing poles in the guy's hand. We went fishing, and we cooked the fish, cleaned and cooked the fish right there, just like the cowboys and Indians used to do on the Long Ranger back in the 50s when we watched television. We learned a lot from the Long Ranger. And while our parents was working and school was out, we had to improvise. So going in the woods and spending all day in the woods, we ran across pear trees, apple trees, plums, every type of fruit you could think of, as if we were in Garden of Eden. God provided for us. We had slingshots and bow and arrows, and we did hunt, and we had pheasants. We cooked out. We should take a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a pot and a frying pan. And my little sisters, we all had the little kids, and we had, maybe 14 or 15, and we went in the woods and played all day. And we ate just like the Indians and cowboys used to do back in the day. So we really were close to nature. And you see the rocks in here, big, beautiful rocks. And I've been putting them in my pictures because I don't even have to think about how to paint a rock. Once you do one, the rest of them are just basic shapes. And I really fell in love with art before I could paint. And God had blessed me with the talent that I had to build, because a lot of my paintings in the beginning weren't so good, but I kept to it because A teacher told me one time that you're gifted, and I didn't know what it meant. So she gave me some art supplies to go home, to take home. And I started bringing 10 pictures in a day, and I sold 4 paintings for $25 each in 5th grade. I brought the money home to my mother. My mother said, she gave me back the money. She said, you earned this with your talent, you keep it. I went straight to the store and bought $80 worth of art supplies. And the other $10, believe it or not, back then I could take my 3 sisters and myself to the movies. and I started selling paintings ever since. I never stopped, you know.
That is incredible. From the age of?
It was in 1960. Wow. Yeah, 1960.
And you were how old then?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes.
A natural, normal gift, and such a talent. I read this part, and I just wanted to quote you, if I may, which was so beautiful. Art is my passion.
Yes.
God has blessed me with the unique ability to be creative in many forms of art.
Yes.
I love the challenge of taking a canvas, a blank wall, or an entire building and turning it into an original work of art. All surfaces become a blank canvas to me. The sky's the limit to my creativity.
Yes.
That is so beautifully put.
Thank you.
This is such a wonderful, warm memory that you've translated into a painting, which all can appreciate.
Yes.
And also the idea that you are living off the earth. And naturally, you would fish and make your own dinner with the fruits and the vegetables that you found there. That is so marvelous.
Yes.
People are trying nowadays to get back to that.
Oh, my goodness.
And need to, of course. We need to be more in touch with nature. So that is marvelous. Well, we have a whole gallery here of beautiful works of art, and I'm wondering if you should walk us around and share that with us.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'll keep my seat here.
This picture of Mandela was my creation. I was impressed with what happened when he was released from jail, and I painted this picture in abstract form, and it shows, you can see the elephant up top and Africa all blend in, intertwined with Mandela's, life with Africa. And the colors I chose, specifically earth tone colors. And people seem to like it and appreciate it in abstract form. This painting here is half of the second painting here that you'll see. This picture is of country people, kids, hanging on the fence looking at the people in the South, the white people in the South, go to church because they had beautiful clothing on and they admired it. It's an innocence that we took for granted, but we actually did this down South when I was growing up. And this is the other half of that picture. And, just an extension of it. I made 2 pictures out of them. This one right here shows Obama, and it also shows the history of blacks from the slave ships to the auction block, the Constitution, the Willie Lynch papers, the cotton field, sugarcane field, buffalo soldiers, mother with the book in her hand, the Bible in her hand, crying, praying. And then you have the young kids growing up today with guns and drugs, and they end up in prison. Their mind is chained because they have missed the point. And you also have books in prison, so they understand the history, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. So we went from the slave ships to the White House, from I am a man to yes we can, and Obama represents our plight, and the stealth bomber is a part of that. We have the red tail Tuskegee Airmen, which is part of that history.
And the way
at
you
a
put the
glance,
wood frame, tell me about the
wood
bark
f-
there. Yes.
the wood frame, I collected driftwood all over the Jersey beaches, and they're falling off. But I brought this just to show you, just driftwood that
Yes.
I'm going to continue
Beautiful.
to put around this frame here. This here is a picture that people seem to love of Billie Holiday. Yes, Billie Holiday singing. At a glance, you can see a woman singing on a mic in the woods. But at a closer look, you'll see the ropes,
Lynching.
the lynchings, and a closer glance, you can see torches and a group of people coming toward this tree, which is the poplar tree. I even put the frowns in the tree because the tree represents a innocent part of this picture. The poplar tree is always going to be labeled with that stigma, the hanging stigma, and blood on the roots in this tree in this picture is self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. And she's singing with her heart out. That's why I love Billie Holiday. Mm-hmm. And this picture is a picture that I created of a place that I wanted to be in a certain part of my life. I closed my eyes and say, where do I want to be? I blocked out the outside, and I painted a picture where I wanted to be at that particular time. This also is a half of a picture. I continued the land over here, and I had me with an easel painting overlooking this scene. And someone offered me a lot of money, so I just sold the other half.
The other half. That's interesting because I do a meditation, visualization. I use the waterfall from the rainforest. In any country, they all have the rainforest. I use Tanzania and Mount Kilimanjaro and the waterfall coming down. So that's very universal.
Yes.
I like that.
People love the waterfalls. I have it in as many places I can put it.
Of course.
I throw them
It's
really
very
fast.
beautiful.
And this picture here was a small picture of J.D. Pickett with the wig on. And I love the challenge of getting her to look like Jada Pinkett with her face tilted and the wig on. And that's hard. This is the hardest picture I ever painted in my life. And it took longer than me doing a whole mural.
But beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this here is the Marlins manager, which I didn't even know who he was. I was flipping through a magazine. I saw a little stamped picture of this guy, and I saw the wrinkles in his face, and I was like, wow, I got to capture that. And when I did it, I was like, oh man, people love the picture because it shows that I can do not just black people, but everybody and everybody in between.
Wow, beautiful.
And these are just some of my pictures that I have here today.
Yes, I just wanted to ask you one question about the Billie Holiday picture.
Yes.
It seems that she is so soulful.
Yes.
And of course, we talk about how she's able to render music in a way that you just know she's going very deep inside herself.
That's why I love her.
And when you talk about the tree and how you have so many hidden images within your paintings, one must take a closer look.
Yes.
And it brings to me the thought, one cannot judge a book simply by its cover.
Exactly.
You have to dig deeper and really understand. That would be for people, that would be for books, and certainly for your paintings.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And then you have the last one on that side.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This painting here, at a time there was a strong drug epidemic in our area, and I wanted to show the results of being addicted to drugs. I did a woman sniffing coke, and her body is literally cracking up and falling into a grave. Instead of her using her mind, which drugs prevent you from thinking normally, rationally, I put the things that she's given up, the welfare check, the baby's bottle, the rent money, all of that is just, she's preoccupied with that. And the result is destruction. And she can't deal with life and reality until she take care of this. And that's why people like you, Professor Shabaka, come in handy. You have a caring heart that, you know, you're helping people in a humanitarian way. And it's a good thing that God put people like you on this planet. And our meeting, just like you said, was providence, because I had a second chance too. And we're going to talk about that
Another
in another
segment.
time.
Another segment, yes.
Okay.
Now you have some other paintings over here, which we could bring into the view. Could you share with us those? Just bring those over.
Yes.
The ones behind here. You have some paintings over here.
All right, cut.
Okay.
All right, you want
Yes.
Larry.
All right.
All right.
What piece you talking
That
about?
painting is in front of the one
What
you're
about
talking
me?
about,
What
Mandel. You can bring it over when you get ready to talk about
I
it.
thought you said P.
But put that
one
one.
here?
My
Yeah,
side.
just-
Quiet set. Okay. We got speed.
Yes. I had the opportunity to display my work at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. A couple weeks ago. And they saw my paintings and they were so impressed. They wanted me to do a live painting on stage. And these are the two that I done. This one I did in about 15 minutes. It's a purple rainbow, a blue rainbow. And it's basically colors and, you know, the concept of the abyss. And this one here is a juke joint jam, and that's what I call it. Now this is the type of clubs they had in old barns and rundown buildings down south, because you know, they just want to have fun. They had a drummer, saxophone player, and a bass player. And people came, you got old light hanging, and that's all you need, a little light and some music and the atmosphere. And they were, you know, moonshine and whatever. But anyway, while I was painting this one, I sit it down just like it is now, and I had this one on the easel above it, and I dropped some black paint right here, a glob of black paint there, and the audience gasped. And I just took the brush and did zip, zip, and did a bird flying underneath the rainbow. See, that's the art in me. You know, I can think on my feet. And this landscape right here is basically a 15-minute painting. And the detail is a 15-minute painting. And I've done them quicker than that.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
This is my a painting that's on my business card. I thought of a woman in deep thought, you know, elegantly dressed. And I wanted to capture that to match this frame. And I hope I did it.
Yeah.
And I also, speaking of Providence and being here, Mr. Pelham Boiler from Urban Strategy and Mrs. Rodriguez, Annie Rodriguez, took the chance of me coming over to paint their building on the outside after they saw my website. And I really would like to thank them for the opportunity to do their building. And it amazed me. I was almost in tears when I saw little kids, just like Professor Shabaka said. They come by and they say the ABCs, even little kids that don't know their ABCs. And it's like a learning board. And I see kids, little kids teaching their grandmother who don't speak English that good how to say the ABCs from the wall. And the wall, the people across the street came over and told me, they said, Larry, I was in my kitchen washing dishes. I looked out the window and you did that whole mural in like 45 minutes. I said, but I was eating and talking. I wasn't rushing. I said, I could do that picture in 10 minutes, do that wall in 10 minutes. And they like, I never seen anything like that. And this is the reaction I get from the community. They love what I did to the wall on 1090 Sutter Avenue in Brooklyn. And I thought that they would appreciate it, and to have the young guys come by and say, I'm so glad that you did this. It brightened up the community. It gives the kids something to see. And once they see how you did a rock or a flower or something, they're inspired to do it. So I would hope that I am an inspiration using my creativity to inspire children of all ages and even adults too. They love the wall I did. And I really appreciate the opportunity that Mrs. Rodriguez had for me. She found me on the website, on my website, and this is how Ms. Rodriguez found me. And she presented the proposal to her boss. When I went to the building the first time, I didn't know where it was. I went past it. And I'm thinking like, wow. I called on the phone. She told me where the building was. And I said, you need some artwork on here. She said, that's why I called you. So I ended up doing the mural. Now everybody knows where the building is. And I hope to be an inspiration to anyone that see my art, because I asked God for a second chance, and He'd given it to me. So I'm going to be a responsible adult and artist and try to do what I can to be an inspiration.
Thank you again, Mr. Walker. And we just want to emphasize that anyone who might be interested in the paintings by Mr. Larry Walker, he can be reached at 732-337-0658 or www.paintingsbylarrywalker.com. So he does custom interior and exterior painting, murals, canvases, and as you can see, portraits as well. I think it's just wonderful that you can have that kind of creativity and express it so quickly. I'm amazed that you can say you can do these in 15 and 20 minutes. That is absolutely amazing. And coming from the, what part of the South did you say your home was?
Richland, Georgia.
Richmond, Georgia.
Richland.
Richland.
Yes.
R-I-C-H-L-A-N-D?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Richland, Georgia. And so how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 3 brothers and 5 sisters, and it's only 2 brothers left. My cancer ran through in my family, and yeah, just me and my 2 brothers left, and our grandchildren.
And are they residing in the area where?
Yes, in New Jersey, yes.
In New Jersey?
Yes,
Oh, okay,
yes,
very
yes.
good. All right, well, again, we thank you so very much for a very rich experience. And, of course, we're going to be doing a second segment, and we're going to explain why we call the 2 segments Second Chance. He is expressing his incredible energy and love of life through his paintings and the portrayal of what is possible. And we want to know, not just from the early childhood, but by very strange, problematic incident in his life, he spent a number of years incarcerated. Thank you so much for listening, and we are going to come back with segment 2. This is 1001 Ways to Cope with Stress.